Most people think leadership starts with managing others, but the truth, leadership starts with managing yourself, your emotions, your mindset, and your habits. Because if you can't lead yourself, why should anyone trust you to lead them? Think about that. Today, we're diving into the foundations of elite leadership, intrapersonal skills, because every great leader, every top performer, every high-level operator has one thing in common. They have mastered the ability to regulate themselves, manage their emotions, and take control of their own habits and decisions before trying to lead others. Welcome to the Dealership War Room. I'm Chris Hunsicker, and today we're talking about something that leaders ignore, intrapersonal skills. Because here's the reality. The toughest person you will ever have to lead is yourself. And the better you are at managing yourself, the more effective you'll be at leading others. So if you feel like you've been hitting a ceiling in your leadership, or if you're struggling with frustration, inconsistency, and burnout, this episode is for you. Let's create some leadership fire. There's a hidden cost to poor interpersonal skills. Let me tell you a quick story about a dealership principal I work with, and we'll call him John. John was a high energy guy, passionate, driven, and relentless about growth. He built his dealership into a powerhouse. There was one problem. John's leadership was volatile, up and down. Some days he was inspiring, and other days he was incredibly unpredictable. If things were going well, he was fired up, supportive, and engaging. But when things weren't, he was short-tempered, impatient, and reactive. His managers never knew which John they were going to get from day to day. Every day, the question was, hey, do we have good John or bad John? And guess what? That inconsistency killed morale. His team started playing it safe, avoiding tough conversations, and doing the bare minimum just to stay out of his line of fire. John's problem wasn't his vision, and it wasn't his work ethic. It was his inability to regulate himself. And here's the hard truth. If you can't manage yourself, your team will always be walking on eggshells, and so will your family. Powerful interpersonal skills rest on three foundations. Number one is emotional self-regulation, mastering your reactions. The best leaders don't make decisions based on emotion. They make decisions based on principles, clarity, and strategy. And if you're reactive, if you let your frustration, anger, and stress drive your behavior, you're not leading. You're just emotionally venting in a leadership position. I want you to think about that one more time. You're not leading. You're just emotionally venting while in a leadership position. And so often that passes for leadership. Think about it. Have you ever had a boss who made decisions based on their mood? One day they're all in and the next day they're shutting everything down. What does that do to a team? It creates uncertainty, frustration, and fear. Again, the hard truth, if your emotions dictate your leadership, you're making your team pay the price for your lack of self-control. So here's the action step I want you to look at. Today, tomorrow, before making a big decision, ask yourself, am I reacting emotionally or am I responding with clarity? If you're not sure, wait, get some distance. Leaders who master their emotions master their results. Foundation number two is self-discipline. Do you keep promises to yourself? So many people, so many leaders are great at keeping commitments to others, but terrible at keeping commitments to themselves. They tell their team to follow the process, but they don't follow their own system. They expect consistency from their employees, but their own habits are inconsistent. And here's the truth. Your team sees everything. If you're not disciplined, they won't be either. Think about it. Have you had a leader who was all talk and no action? Someone who preached accountability, but was consistently making excuses? What did that do to your respect for them? Again, the truth. Your discipline is a silent signal that tells your team how seriously they should take you. The action step I'm asking you to take, pick one personal habit that needs to be more consistent, whether it's showing up on time or planning your day or following through on commitments, and lock it in for the next 7 days, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. The third pillar is mental resilience, handling pressure like a pro. Leadership isn't easy, and pressure is part of the job, but the best leaders don't crack under pressure. They perform under pressure. How? By training themselves to to see problems as challenges to solve and not threats to fear. Think about this. Have you worked with someone who completely fell apart when things got tough? How'd that impact the team? Did it build confidence or did it make everyone more anxious? Again, the truth is, if you panic, your team panics. If you crumble under pressure, your team follows your lead. So your action step for today is next time a problem hits, ask yourself, what would the best version of me do right now? And then act from that place and not from frustration or fear. Because the best leaders train themselves to be unshakable. That's what separates elite from average. So let's bring this home for today. Intrapersonal skills aren't just leadership skills, they're life skills. If you can master yourself, regulate your emotions, stay disciplined, and perform under pressure, you will naturally become the kind of leader that people trust, respect, and follow. So here's my challenge. Which of these 3 skills do you need to improve first? Is it emotional self-regulation? Is it self-discipline? Is it mental resilience? The ideas I'm sharing with you today, I've shared with thousands of people literally around the world. This particular message never fails to resonate. I'm sure that someone has popped into your mind today as you were listening to this podcast, like, man, they need to hear this. This would really help them. This would benefit them in their own leadership. Whoever that is, please reach out to them and share this podcast with them. Let's spread what works and quit complaining about what doesn't. And if you'd really like to dive deeper and go further into this, then I want you to look up my AI clone. You can find it at chrishunsicker.ai. It is an incredible version of me. It's not me, but it's as close as you can get without having the real thing. And it's available 24/7. And you can use my clone to ask questions for you specifically, how to implement and use the very things that we've talked about today. With that, go out, look at what are you going to do to get better today, and I'll see you tomorrow in the Dealership War Room.